This is exercise 10B on solving equations by inspection, in other words, trial and error. On page 575, I don't know why it says 577, page 575 of your textbook. Any questions? No? Okay, so when we're saying solving equations, what does that mean, solving? Yeah, Rohan.
Figuring out something.
Perfect. We're finding the values, right? And often we're talking about finding the values of what we don't know. So for example, if I said, well, if I bought 5 potato cakes and each of them is $5, I want you to solve it. Well, I'm saying, well, I don't know how much it is total, and you can solve it to tell me how much it is total. So solving is finding the values, and in often cases, we're talking about, well, something we don't know. Okay, that's solving. An unknown, does anyone know what an unknown is? What does unknown mean? Yeah. Perfect, someone you don't know. So in the case of algebra, what's the word we use to call letters? Starts with P.
Pronoun.
Pronumeral, thank you. Pronumerals we don't know. So, for example, X10B, whatever it is, whatever letters in the question, we're trying to find the value of it. Okay? So please make sure you're copying this down as we go through. And there's one last term that I want to go over. And this one's not as common, but it's something that I would like you to know anyway. Inspection. In maths, we don't actually call it inspection much. I think you guys should have heard of the term trial and error. Have you guys heard of that before? Yep. So in other words, we're just guessing and just trying to make sure that we get an answer that suits our situation. Okay? It's like if you go up to the shop and they're like, okay, you figure out your total, and then you just keep giving them. Is it 20 enough? Is 25 enough? 26 maybe? And you just keep guessing. Obviously not very efficient, right? Otherwise, there's going to be a line of 20 people that came out trying to guess how much they owe. So this is just something that we're going to use to learn about it. But in future lessons, we're going to learn how to find the correct answer on the spot without guessing. But this lesson's about guessing. Any questions? No? I'm going to jump right into doing some examples. So let's say I've got C plus 12 equals to 16. By your logic, what would C have to be, Rohan? 4. Why do you know it's 4? Yeah, you could do that, you're right. But also, you know that 4 plus 12 is 16, right? So by that logic, C has to be 4. Now, that's literally it. You guys are just making sure you know, if I put a number in here, what do I get? Is it the same as the right-hand side? So let's say I've got another example over here. You don't have to copy this one down. Let's say I've got some box times by 7 equals to 28. Let's do that. Well, I'm thinking to myself, it's got to be somewhere around what, Demi?
No, I was going to say 28 divided by 7.
You could, perfect. You could go, right now it's times by 7, right? So we can divide by 7 on both sides, but like I said, this is a little bit advanced. So I can get box equals to, what's 28 divided by 7? 4. Perfect. Now, if I put that back into this box over here, and I write 4, does 4 times 7 equal to 28?
Yeah.
Perfect. So it's the idea of going back and making sure what you figured out, what you've said, actually makes sense. Let's do one that's a little bit more tricky. And I would like you guys to copy this down, thank you. Let's say I have 45 equals to 5 bracket D plus 5. This one gets a little bit tricky. Okay? Obviously, we're working with numbers that are a little bit bigger than what we're used to. We've got 45. And on the other side, we've got 5 bracket D plus 5. Does anyone just want to give me a number? Just any number they want to guess D might be? Trini. Here?
No, what's in between 45 and 5?
That's an equal sign. Yep. Sorry about that. That's an equal sign. All right, Archie, can you give me a number you would like to guess?
9.
9? You want to go for 9? Okay, let's try 9. So let's try 9. Let D equal to 9. Are we okay with that? So this is just substituting now. I'm going to ignore the left-hand side because that's just the number. Let's work with the right-hand side. So I've got 5 bracket. Now don't write D, I write 9 plus 5. Are we okay with that? 9 plus 5 gives me? 14. So I got 4 bracket, 5 bracket 14. No, you're right. It should be trial and error. You guys probably won't get it right the very first time. So what's 14 times 5? What's 10 times 5? What's 4 times 5? 50 plus 20? Thank you. Wait, what? 50 plus 20? 70, thank you, 70. Now, is that 45? Not quite. So, should the value that we're putting in, should D be higher or lower? Should be lower. Do you want to give another shot? Let's try 4, okay. So let's say, let's do this a different color so we can separate it. Let's say let D equal to 4. Same thing, 5 bracket. Now, don't write D, I write 4 plus 5. What's 4 plus 5? 9, so I got 5 bracket 9. 5 times 9 is 45. Bam, that is the same answer as in our question. And so D equals 4. No, you're right. It's on the right track. But like I said, this is about inspection, about trialing and erroring. That's not a word. If you know a method, like you mentioned earlier, Demi, if you know a method that gets you to the correct answer every time, or gets you a better idea of what the answer could be, you're more than welcome to do that. So let's go back to the idea. You don't have to copy this section down. I want you to copy what I've put in this really gross square. But what I'm about to write, you don't have to copy down. So I've got 45 equals to 5D plus 5. What does that mean right there? What does that 5 mean? What's the operation in there? Times. I'm actually timesing. So you could do the opposite of times 5. Because earlier, we did the opposite of times 7, right? So what's the opposite of times 5? Divide by 5. So let's divide both sides by 5. What's 45 divided by 5? 9. And now that cancels each other out, and I get D plus 5. And it might be a little bit easier to solve from there. But like I said, we're sticking with what we know in this box there. If you feel like that method on the right makes sense, you can use that one. But just trial and error works as well. Any questions? No? Okay, I want you guys to get started on working on exercise 10B, the star rating sheet. I've given a copy to all of you. And yeah, get started.